Welcome back to another Sculpt Session Sunday. I'm your host, Sash, and I'm here with the wonderful, the beautiful Mandizzle with a Shizzle.
Hey guys.
And Mans and I are going to have a conversation today about a question slash topic that I saw floating around the internet a little bit. It's something that I heard other creators talk about, specifically higher up wellness. I heard him ask this question to someone that he was podcasting with, and then some other creators. And I thought that this would be a really fun topic for, well, fun, but also maybe not. But anyways, but without further ado, the question that I want to ask you and that I just want us to jump right into is what parts of you had to die in order for you to become who you are now?
Almost every single part.
That was
Yeah.
literally going to be my same exact answer when I would be the one responding. It's actually nuts.
And we did not talk about this beforehand for
No,
anyone listening.
purposely, we were like, let's just go into it and just like have this conversation. But like seriously, like in fitness and business and everything, I feel like all of us have to go through this like shedding of the layers and like or some people say like writing a new chapter or something. I feel like I had to write a new series. Like it wasn't a chapter in a book or a new book. It was like legit just like blank slate onto something new. So like I just want to hear about yours.
Okay, I guess like my the nerdiest way I could think to describe it just is, well, I say almost every single part of me had to die. It's like at the core, I'm still me. But if you think about like the Pokemon that evolve, they still are sort of like the first stage, but then like they just like keep getting like fancier and like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fancier and more skills. That's kind of like what it is. So like there's still some like physically, I could say I mostly still look like who I did before, but like it's still totally different.
Yeah.
And if I had to pick and really lock in on one of the biggest parts of me that had to die for me to become myself right now, would be the version of me that was very heavily based in victim mindset or and I hate saying this and I don't want to make it like about like gender roles or anything, but the way that I was raised um in just very toxic patriarchy, like everything that I did as a child and as a teen, it was like, how can I get approval from the boys that I like? How can I make them like me? What, without any question in my brain of like, do I even like them? Like, why
Hmm.
aren't they aren't thinking about these questions for me? So I almost like totally would disregard myself to put these other people first because that's what I learned from my biological dad, and not a true thing that I learned from him, but in his examples was pretty much women are indisposable or disposable and they need to do whatever is going to make them unhappy. So as soon as I could like boys, I was like, what do I do to make these boys like me more? And then ultimately, when I would get my heart broken, because who wants to be with somebody that's not even real? Um, then I would be victim mindset. I'm
Yeah.
not good enough. What, like, oh, woe is me. Like they did me dirty and like I did myself dirty.
Yeah. And that's a really big realization also because to come out of that victim mindset, it's realizing that you are the only person that could take accountability for the way that your life is.
Yeah.
And like the way that you think, the way that you approach things. And thank you so much for sharing that because that I feel like a lot of women and maybe even men could relate to that of like seeking that approval and like wanting wanting to get that approval and then like having that victim mindset when they don't and just like carrying that throughout themselves and like creating like that false reality around who they are. It's like you said, like, did you even like them? Like, were you
Yeah.
even interested? Like, it's almost like you didn't have like a sense of self in a way
But
because of who it was that you were trying to be rather than who it is that you really were.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think about it when we're kids, we're our parents or like the people around us essentially like tell you who you are without really letting you just kind of stumble upon it. And I mean, I understand, I get it. Like they're gonna be like, you're a kid, you're a student, like you're gonna go to school and like, okay, cool. But in the kind of like toxic ways I talked about, like the example that my biological father set, like saying, you're going to grow up and be a woman and you're going to kind of be the lesser gender here and like tough shit to you and kind of put up with it. So I didn't know any better, which
Mm,
is kind of like the shitty part there. But like you said, at the end of the day, it's still up to me to take accountability. Do I want to continue to believe what he told me about me? Do I like my life as I'm living it laid out the way he said it would be lived at? Like,
or should be, yeah.
yeah. And I, it really honestly took me, like, I would slowly come out of that victim mindset, but I would say it really didn't hit me until I was in my late 20s
Mm,
to fully kill that victim mindset.
yeah. And how, when you were going through that, did you have moments where you like almost like regressed? Like you made the progress and then you were just like, oh, never mind, reel it back.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you would
Absolutely.
technically say like you died and then came back to life and then died and then came back like a couple of what parts of you had to die? Many. And then they came back to life and then I had to kill them again. And then I actually got where I wanted to be going.
Yeah, it'd be like what it'd be like one step forward, like half a step back, where, when something really emotional or like charged happens, your default setting is in that victim mindset, or mine was, I should say. So it would be like I would fall into that, oh, this always happens to me. And then I would catch myself and be like, okay, what can I do differently then? Like,
Mm,
how can I handle this differently? I'm really upset right now. Whereas before I'd be like, yeah, bitch, spiral, make it crazier, go harder. Like,
yeah. Like look at everything that's happening to you.
yeah. And I would just gasoline on that
Yeah.
giant fire. But I would catch myself and then I'd be like, okay, this sucks. Do I want to keep feeling like it sucks? No. So like slowly I'd start crawling out of there. But there, that victim mindset, she was a fighter. That one was hard to kill, but I'm glad I'm glad I put that bitch in the grave. she's
Yeah.
she's done. She's buried. It's
Yeah,
good.
killed her off. No, no, I totally get it. And I feel like in certain ways, everyone could relate to having somewhere, somehow moments of even that victim mindset of, oh, like I have to this, or this is this, or maybe if someone is overweight and like that's how they grew up in a family that like eats a certain kind of way or like just junk food or fast food or has never been exposed to the gym or whatever, like it's really easy to blame other people. And don't get me wrong, like I feel like people do come from certain environments that maybe aren't healthy. Like we're all brought up in very different ways, and like you can have someone come from like a dual income household and like living like moderately well and going to a private school or whatever the case is, and then you can have someone who's living the complete opposite of that. And it's not where you come from as much as it is who you make yourself out to be. And I feel like some people also fall into the victim mindset there of like, well, this is all I know, or like this is how I was raised, or this is whatever. It's like, all right, if you're in your mid 20s, in your early 30s, even in your early 20s, like you are at the point where you can go get yourself a job, you can start making your own changes, you can start picking up self-help books, you can listen to self-help podcasts, you can do things to crawl yourself out of there. And like there, it becomes a choice of whether you want to or you don't. And not choosing, like everything is a choice. So like choosing to make a like choosing to choose different is a choice, and choosing to not choose different and not do different is also a choice. And like it takes a lot to crawl out of that. So like kudos to you for doing that. And like I'm sure, like you said, it took a hot minute because you also had to catch yourself and learn like what different is. And every time you caught yourself, it's like you were taking now a vote for a better you. And you were like, wow, okay, I actually like myself responding to this more like this because then I'm not feeding into this victim mentality that I never actually wanted to be in, but I just that was my almost like second nature to like go into that.
Totally. And I mean, I'm curious because knowing you for years now, and you're just like this, I don't even know how to describe you effectively. Like this, you're just this like little force. And you've done so much to get yourself to where you are now that like I personally can't really picture you ever clinging into that victim mindset. But did you also like ever have a version of you like that? Because
Oh my God,
it
yes.
is so common. Okay.
Yes, it was I feel like it was I broke it unintentionally out of almost like anger for my circumstances, situations, responses, and like my biggest part of me that had to die was like a people pleasing aspect and like keeping myself in a box. And I feel like when that victim, like when my victim mindset would come into play, I would, I feel like the best way I can explain it is in an example. And to anyone that doesn't know, like my parents got divorced when I was like very young. And I remember like having moments where it was like my victim mentality would go to, well, it's because I don't have like a father figure or like I would almost like blame I would blame other circumstances of like, oh well, my dad's not in the picture, so like whatever like I can't think of a one specific example right now, but I would almost like default to either that or how I was helping raise my sister and how like I didn't get time to do certain things that I wanted to do because I had to be this adult. But then I also, as much as I pushed into like having moments of that victim mindset, I was also like so fueled by like almost anger and just knowing that I don't have a choice other than to do what it is that I'm doing right now, that it was almost like, all right, now let me put myself in a box and be who I just need to be right now. And I I feel like I broke out of that when I really started like sitting with myself and like thinking like who actually am I if I'm not this person that's been put in a box and like this person who like everyone around me wants me to be. And that's when I immediately was like, oh, okay, like it was a shitty situation that my parents didn't work out and I have communication with my dad and I think he's a good guy that just didn't do great things and like it, when I started like looking at things differently, it's like, okay, I'm not gonna let myself into that victim mentality because this is just what it is, and I can't do anything to change it. I can't change the past. I can make adjustments in the future where I see fit, where I feel like it needs to be, and like I just try to keep myself out of the, oh, like this is happening to me. Like it's like now it's more so it's for me. I might not know why yet, but it's happening for me. So like
Yeah,
that's where.
that's amazing because how
And don't
many
get, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm convinced, and I convinced myself for a while that like an ex-boyfriend that I had, I only chose that kind of like an asshole of a person because I had those like daddy issues or whatever. So like I've been there, I've done that. Like I've told myself those stories. I put myself in those situations. I played into like that victim mentality of like, well, I don't know any better and like this is
so
just what
you
it
used it as like a justification for your
almost,
choices?
almost,
Yeah.
but like I also didn't know any better. Like when you grow up, and truthfully, like when you grow up in a Soviet household, like even my grandpa, God bless him, but like he is like a Soviet, like Russian man, and like his mentality, I don't agree with a lot of things there. And I wouldn't have been able to even separate, like I would get angry, but I didn't understand that I was pissed because I didn't agree with him and it didn't fit like or even with my mom or with my dad or with anyone like it I couldn't understand that I was put into such a box that I couldn't have my own thoughts and my own ideas and my own ideas of what's right and what's wrong and what I believe in and what I don't believe in, that when I blew up, like it was just like I was just like,
Oh.
yeah.
So it's almost like your unconscious, like your sub or yeah, your subconscious.
Unconscious. Good night.
Your subconscious like knew you disagreed with these things, but you just didn't have the tools or like awareness yet to understand the disagreement or like
Yeah.
voice it. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So you're in another case of where your intuition will always tell you like what is for you
It
and what
will.
isn't.
It will. And that was
Yeah.
like that putting myself in a box, that like people pleasing, that trying to be someone who at my core I wasn't, was probably the biggest part of me that had to die. Like how you said for you was like the people, the, no, for me it's the people pleasing. How for you, you said it's like it was the victim mentality that like ha had to go. I mean, all of me had to go. And I truly don't recognize myself even like on the outside, because at that like breaking point I was a bleach blonde with humongous fake lashes and like just quite literally a completely different person than who I am now, because I was trying so hard to like fit into something that I was not. And that was so rooted in the people pleasing, in the trying to fit a mold, in the trying to be smaller than myself, because I was always almost discouraged to be myself because of how like you always call me like a firecracker and this and that. If
Yeah.
someone was to tell me that a couple of years ago, it would have been said in such an insulting way to me, because I was like, you're too loud, you talk too much, you have too much to say, you're too outgoing, you like tone it down. Like that was the box that I got put into. So like for me, that was what I was always trying to please, and like who I was always trying to, that was from everyone. That was from like family, from friends, from everyone, that like Sasha's too much. She's too like loud. She's too big. She's too not like physically big, but like even at some point physically big too. But like it was like that was what had to die, is like I wasn't too loud. It was just for them, it didn't fit their mold of what I was supposed to be. I wasn't dramatic. It was just they didn't like when I said things that didn't agree with them. And like those are things that had to be completely killed off, as like my fear of being perceived. And that's actually something that I really realized only recently, probably over the last like year or so, is that my biggest fear was the fear of being perceived in a certain type of way than who I actually felt like I was. And that's, yeah, that was
Uh,
that.
Well, how do you feel about that now? Because you have a pretty like good size social media presence.
I mean, if anything, I want people to think that I'm like loud and outgoing and will say what's on my mind and will be emotional and dramatic and whatever. All of those words, like to me, if those words were said to me without the negative connotation attached to them, like I don't view those as bad things. And I feel like I realized that because all the people that I listen to, all the people that I'm encouraged by, influenced by, enjoy like not even communicating with. I feel like I communicate with them when I listen to like their podcasts and everything, but I feel like their emotion and like how enthusiastic they are and how excited they are and how passionate they are about these things, that I'm like, yes, like I that's the energy. Like that's what I like. Like that's also what I put out. And I see people like when I put out like my real energy. And anytime that I try to like put myself down a little bit, when I specifically started like with social media, like that never got anything. Like no one would ever bite to that, because it was just very neutral. Like, yeah, so this is what you have to do, and just like da 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 da, like very like this. And then when I started talking with my hands and talking and being more like animated, like you say, and like doing all of those things, it's like people are like, oh shit, like this is who she is. Like this is how she is. This is how she talks. This is her true self to her core. Not scripted, not acting, like just who she is as a person. And to anyone that doesn't like it, that's okay. I've had family that didn't like it. So it's okay if some stranger doesn't like it. And
Mhm.
it's more so of the people who see me for me and get it and want to be around all of this, too much or not enough, whatever, however you want to look at it, we'll see it for exactly that. And that took a really long time to get there. Like it took a
Yeah.
really long time to like even get to that mentality. I would literally say within the last less than a year to like take that kind of approach.
And I'm glad you have because all those traits are honestly really admirable. There's so many people out there that wish they could be so I don't even know if this is the right word, but like so uncensored about who they are. Because I think people get still stuck in that. I have to put a filter on for who I am, depending on who I'm talking to cater to, like you said, the perception,
Yeah.
right? But I think it's really cool. I've said this before, and I'm not going to stop saying it because I've gotten to see that evolution of you from when you're like, I'm not going to talk to the camera. I don't want to talk to the camera.
Literally, like a little
Yeah.
mouse.
Yeah. And now it's just like, okay, good. There she is. There she is.
Yeah.
That's just cool.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. And it's also cool to see it within yourself, and I'm sure you can agree with this in the like the way that you view things now. It's like if something crappy happens or something happens to you, I don't know, your freaking car broke down, something happened, whatever, you're having a really crappy day, like it's yeah, you can take it for what it is, just having a crappy moment, having a crappy day, but you're not like, that's it, I'm done, everything's done, pour the gasoline, spiral, keep it going. Like
Mhm.
you, I feel like even if you have a reaction, it's not that reaction that you would
Mhm.
have had in the past because, like you
Yeah,
said,
definitely.
buried that.
Yeah, it's I think the most recent one with my car. Ooh,
Mm,
uh, was that the end of last year? I don't remember. It did break down, and it was right before I was getting on a big highway, and I
mm,
had at least like the instinct. Old Mandy would have just gotten on the highway and been really fucked. But I had the instinct to be like, I should probably pull over on this frontage road and like into a neighborhood. And thank God I did. The car was overheating, and had I not, it probably would have gone up in flames. But instead of being like, oh, dang, my car, like, why is this happening to me? I was like, okay, this is a little scary and it sucks because nobody really wants their car to break down. But thank you. How is this working for me? Did I just miss an accident that maybe I would have otherwise been in if I had gotten on the highway and my car like exploded and then hurt other people? And, thank God that it happened on a side street where I'm safe. Thank God it happened now, not when I'm like truly by myself, like, or if Colin was out of town and I didn't have anyone to call. Like,
yeah.
thank God I get this repair now and not at a more vulnerable time. And then it
Yeah.
ended up being free because it was like technically their fault anyway, the dealership, because I had just taken it. Good
Took it
Lord.
in.
Took it. I just had taken it in 2 weeks prior. So it was like they didn't hook up something correctly. So it was free anyway. And I'm like, okay, see, it all worked out.
Yeah.
Whereas like old me would have probably spiraled for at least like half a month. I've been
Over
like,
something that you didn't even have control over.
right. And it's like, that's the thing. None of us can control what happens in life, but we can control how we respond to it.
Exactly. We can't
That
control
was,
what happens in life. We can't control other people's actions. We can't control how other people look at us, what other people think of us, how they perceive us, whether they like us, whether they don't. You will always be like, you will be 1,000 different people in 1,000 different people's stories.
mhm,
So, in one person's point of view, you could be an awesome person, a great person, super chill, super calm, super relaxed. But then maybe, I don't know, 6 years ago, if you flipped out on someone while you were driving, like they're like, oh yeah, she was a piece of shit. She like flipped me off or like whatever. Like you, and that's the thing. And like you can't care about how other
mhm,
people look at you. Like the only thing that you can control is yourself. your reactions or not, your actions or not, and like who you will choose to be because that is a choice as well. You could have very easily chosen to continue being in the victim mentality. I could have very easily chosen to keep myself small and stay a small person and never actually let myself be who I am. And in that case, we would have both missed out on crazy opportunities in life of just being here, we would have never ended up here. Not physically, not mentally, not being coaches, not having clients, not having a team, not like we would have never ended up where we were with the people that we're with the in the communities that we're in, and like anything along those lines. And I think that that is just like the main reason why I even wanted us to talk about this today is to share the message that when you are trying to become someone better, when you want to take the next step in your life and get to the next level, get to the next step, turn into the next Pokemon, whatever that analogy was. I've never played Pokemon, but I have clients who have, so like I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But in order to level up and to become the next version of you, parts of you are going to have to die. Maybe not all parts of you, maybe every single part of you, except for hopefully you physically. Like that's the point is
Yeah.
stay alive. Stay alive, just become a better version of you. Because whether it is the people that you're surrounding yourself with, which I bet both of us can agree on, is that the people that you surrounded yourself with maybe even played into that victim mentality of yours and like didn't snap you out of it. People that I surrounded myself with caused, and I don't even want to say caused me to be the way I was, but like influenced almost like me to stay the way that I was staying, small. Your people, your surroundings, what you consume, who you're like everything. What literally down to what you eat and like how you take care of yourself is going to have to change in order for you to become the next you. And like that might sound crazy and that might sound dramatic, but there is not a single part of me to like from this oh my God, excuse me. There's not a single part of me today that dabbles into anything that I've done 6 years ago. Nothing.
Mm,
Nothing.
amen.
Not from the clothes that I wear to the food that I eat to the way that I spend my free time, to the people that I'm around, to the people that I communicate with, to the things that I watch on TV, to the books that I read. Nothing. Like everything is just different. And like that's also such a beautiful thing because you can make that choice to be a different person and to create a different reality. Because isn't there that saying like your personal reality is, or like your personality is your personal reality, or something along those lines, where it's like you can choose what your reality is going to be like, what your life is going to be like, but that will require things to be cut. Not like half
Yeah.
in, half out. I mean, cut. Done.
Yeah.
Finito. No más. No más.
No, yeah. And I think where people get caught up is change is hard because it's uncomfortable. And then, like, my argument to that logic, quote unquote, if you will, is literally anything worth having is this hard word. And it's like, well, I don't want something that is easy. I don't want to go eat McDonald's every day because it's easy. And then that's going to reflect in my body. I
But is
don't,
it really easy? Is it really easy though?
it's
Because,
convenient. That's how, convenient. But I don't want a
but is
convenience.
it really convenient? Because you eat the McDonald's now, and then in half an hour, you're gonna have bad bowel movement, and then you do that for a while, and now all of a sudden you're in the
Bro,
obesity group.
you are ruining my analogy.
No, no, no. I
Yeah.
get what you're saying, but like
Yeah.
I'm like almost countering that also with change is hard, but isn't doing the same shit that isn't
You're making the
actually,
points I was trying to make.
yeah.
I was getting there, but yes.
Get there, take it.
It's okay. No, that's, I was just going to say it's superficial, easy, but the dividends in return on it, return on investment are low. It's not easy and you don't get anywhere. So doing the hard thing is actually just, it's literally a gift
Yeah.
to your future self.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. That was definitely a really good way to end it. And there's also the other like the not opposite, but the other argument that I hear of, well, it's gonna take time to make the changes and to change and to be
Yeah.
different. And my thing to that is that the time is gonna pass anyways. So if 6 years ago I was like, oh, growing my glutes is gonna take a while. Might as well not do it. I would have still had no ass.
Okay, pancake.
Yeah, literally. Or like, and that literally applies to anything. Starting a business, finding a new friend group. Well, that's gonna take time to find good friends. All right, you want to keep hanging around shitty ones who treat you like shit, who you don't actually like, and who are wasting their life away, and will continue doing so? Okay. So change is hard. Staying the same is harder. Time passes anyways. So why not do something worth doing and that's actually going to move the needle forward and make you into a better person while that time is passing.
Mm.
Even if that requires some death, some ego death, some really big life changes that might really suck in the moment. It only gets better.
Short term suck equal long term.
Success.
Oh, yay.
That's good.
There you go.
That's
That
good.
was
That's
good.
good. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope that you got some snippets of inspiration to make some changes in your life. Doesn't have to be a complete revamp right now, but even making a small change with how you show up for yourself, going to the gym, taking care of yourself, maybe not indulging in certain things that you do and just making little by little changes is going to go a really long way. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Mandy, thank you so much for hopping on here and sharing some personal things. I'm sure a lot of people could relate to that. And I know that I personally know some people that could relate to that. So that was really awesome to be able to hear that.
Thank you for having me. It's always a gem and wonderful. I love
Yes,
you.
of course. Love you too. I'm gonna go ahead and drop both of our Instagram handles down below so that you can find both Mans and I if you want to connect. And don't forget to hop on over to Mandy's podcast, which goes out every Monday, unfiltered and functional, where we drop so many gems in there too, science-based, not science-based, just everything, all the fun stuff. So we will talk to you very soon, and thank you for tuning in to another Sculpt Session Sunday.